I'm Ellis Martin. Join me now for a conversation with Claudia Tornquist, President and CEO of Kodiak Copper Corporation, trading as KDK on the TSX Venture Exchange, KDKCF in the U.S., and 5DD1 in Frankfurt. Claudia, it's great to actually sit here across the table from you in this beautiful boardroom you have at your facilities here in Vancouver. It's been a long time since I've been here, visiting with a lot of my friends. I consider you one of my best friends here in Vancouver. You didn't know that, did you?
It's nice to hear.
I know. This is a fantastic mining town, and most people don't know unless they're really focused on the mining industry, and we're reaching out to more generalists than we ever had before, that Canada, Vancouver, Toronto, Calgary, it's a mining country, period. That's what you people do. And I'm putting air quotes around you people because it's truly the business of Vancouver, the business of Canada, and right now there's a lot of focus on critical metals, critical minerals, the electrification of the world, and copper is more important than it ever used to be. And I just wanted to ask you how excited you are about it. And did you know when you were growing up in Germany and then becoming a resident of Canada that you're going to be so strongly involved in the industry with such a powerful group?
That's a long and complicated question. Let me start with the end. When I started out as an engineer in Germany, I never thought I would land in the resources industry. I started in the automotive industry and got into resources really by coincidence. One of these turns life takes, and that was now more than 20 years ago, and I've never looked back and very much enjoy the industry. And yeah, as you said, in Canada, in particular Vancouver, resources is a very important industry. There's no other city with as many mining companies listed as Vancouver and Toronto, of course, and the stock exchange there. And yeah, just this week at the conference, I think that highlighted what big and what an important industry it is. We had the premier there, the leader of the opposition, all talking about the mining industry, and it's important for the country.
So everybody's on the same page here, both parties, the opposition and the ruling government, about how important these critical minerals and metals are, especially copper, correct?
Well, there's a lot of political will, certainly, and I can see that on the ground as well, to make things work. David Eby, the BC Premier, spoke about permitting, streamlining permitting, and how important it is to slash red tape and to accelerate the permitting process. And we certainly have experienced that. Our last permit amendment, which we applied for in autumn, we got in 2 months, and that's very good, can very well work with that. And so, yeah, there's definitely a lot of political will to make things work. And it's a great place to work in British Columbia.
Let's talk about British Columbia, since you mentioned it specifically, and that's where we're at. There's a lot of mining activity going on here, a lot of exploration and development, and especially in BC. And you've got a sizable project there. And what are the economics of bringing something into production in this particular environment?
That's an important question, and that's something I talk about often when I talk about our MPD project. We are located in southern British Columbia in an established mining district with lots of other mines, exploration projects, etc. around us. And that means we have very low cost for exploration because all the infrastructure is there. And it will also be, going forward, an important difference maker, because to build an economic mine in a district like the one we are, in the middle of a mining district, where you have cheap electricity, all generated by hydropower, almost all, where you have access, where you have roads, where you have water, the costs to build a mine are so much lower and to run a mine. And that's a big advantage. And that's obviously why we like working here. And that'll be a big factor when it comes to building a mine at MPD.
Let's talk about the release that came out on the 23rd and the wide area where you have copper and copper equivalent. That's fairly significant to be able to go in there and have consistent grade over a substantial amount of meters.
Yes, this week we came out with some more results from the prime zone, which is a parallel porphyry zone, parallel to and very close to the gate zone where we made our initial high-grade discovery. And we've extended the prime zone and drilled it now down to 780 meters and had some nice long intercepts of good grades that compare very well with the grades that are mined in the area. They're not as high as the gate zone. We don't seem to be getting the really high-grade intercepts yet that we see at the gate zone. Maybe need some more work, or maybe it's a lower grade zone, but it's right from surface. And as I said, the grades are still respectable and higher than much of the ore that's mined at the neighboring mines. So we're very happy with the result, and it's certainly very positive development for the project.
Well, once again, I want to focus on the point that it's not just the grade that matters, it's the accessibility to the area, and the infrastructure in British Columbia is some of the best infrastructure in the world. You can have insane grade but not be able to get to it, and it's just so expensive to build a mine, and that factors into the economics of what it costs to bring ore into production.
That's a very good point, and that's what, as an investor, is always very important to look at the entire picture. The grade is one piece of the puzzle, the cost is another, and it all has to go together. And BC and southern BC and the area we're in is very low cost because very accessible with lots of infrastructure there. And that's a big benefit to us, both for our exploration. Our exploration dollars go a long way, and more importantly, for later on, for the future, to build a economic mine.
Now, the main reason that I became an investor in your company before you became a sponsor of my program, and I've said this before, but I want to repeat it for our new listeners to the program, is because of your team. I met you in Scottsdale on one of our typical conferences and road shows that everybody attends. And I know Chris Taylor because I've interviewed him a few times with Great Bear, and that was a huge, huge success for shareholders. And that's the reason I bought stock in this company.
Yeah, Chris is a very important part of the team. He's obviously the founder and chairman, and he also leads our technical work. And what many people don't know is that he is actually a porphyry expert. His first couple of years as a geologist, he worked for Imperial Metal, exploring and drilling for porphyry, copper porphyry in British Columbia, other parts of North America. So that's really his home turf, and his smarts and his out-of-the-box thinking as a geologist is an important part of, Great Bear, our sister company's success, and also Kodiak's success.
What can we see coming up in the next 6 months that we might be able to look forward to?
We are very busy at the moment, and we'll have more news coming relatively soon. We have more drill results coming, and also the results from all our sampling and geophysical work, which at the moment we're working through to define and prioritize this year's targets. It's always a very exciting time of the year when you really sort of look at the whole picture and figure out where to drill this year and which targets are the highest priority. So we'll soon have some more news and lay out for our shareholders what's on the cards this year.
Claudia, it's always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining me today on the program here in Vancouver.
Thanks for having me.
I've been speaking with Claudia Tornquist, President and CEO of Kodiak Copper Corporation, trading as KDK on the TSX Venture Exchange, KDKCF in the U.S., and 5DD1 in Frankfurt. Find the complete story on the company's website, KodiakCopperCorp.com. I'm Ellis Martin.